some similar things in common, and then it just went like total like it reminded me of like the movie The Cable Guy with Jim Carrey.
Ah, shoot, I saw it, but I honestly don't remember. It's been so long.
Yeah, it was like the guy or whatever, and like the cable guy, like Jim Carrey's like part, he like didn't have any friends or whatever, so like he was trying to be friends with like the guy, but like then it started taking like a dark turn and shit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was kind of like that. So it was like, okay, I added him to my friends list. He would come in the party, like talk to all my friends, whatever, like that. And then like he would do this thing where he was like, oh yeah, I'm married and I have 2 kids. But then it would switch up and be like, this is my girlfriend. Yeah. And then he would send pictures, but you could tell it was like pictures from like Facebook. Or like, you know what I'm saying? Like random people's like profiles and stuff like that. Like you could just tell, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And especially too, like it wasn't like him and his girlfriend. It was just the girlfriend. No, you can show me.
Was your ice cream sure? Leave it on?
Yeah. And so then.
I know. Time that you said, so give me a kiss now.
Yep.
Soon?
Yes. So, what was I saying? So yeah, he would just like send like random photos, and then like one day he'll be like, "Oh, she fucking left me."
No, the weird part was he said that to you one week, and then 3 weeks later he told the same guy he's married, and then 10 hours
that's
later.
what I was trying to get to.
I'm just saying.
So.
You played the same story.
Oh yeah. So then like first when he met me, he was like, check out. There you go. He was like, check out my girlfriend, and I'm like, that's kind of like weird. I don't know why I would do that, but like he was like, oh yeah, this is my girlfriend, and so he like sends a picture, and it's like, I'm like, yeah, like you can definitely tell like you were using Facebook, and then you just like snapshotted some random girl's thing, and sent it. So then
you were like, don't you think it's divorce first?
Yeah, so then he hits me up the next day, and he's like, oh, she fucking left me. No, it was the girlfriend, it wasn't a wife. But yeah, he told like another guy it was like a wife. And so yeah, he goes like, oh, she left me, I'm gonna kill myself, all this other stuff or whatever. Yeah, so I'm like, dude, if you want to talk, we could talk or whatever. It comes in the party, he's like, you could tell like he was kind of like fake crying a little bit.
Yeah.
So he's doing this like kind of like like thing, and I'm like, so I'm like, hey, you want to talk, man? Because I don't want nobody to kill themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like if I could support somebody, like I will. And because I don't play around with that stuff. But so yeah, he's like, yeah, like I'm like, are you okay? You want to talk, whatever? He's like, I'm okay. I'm trying to hang on. I'm barely hanging on. She took everything from me and all this other stuff or whatever, and I'm like, okay. I was like, that's rough, but I'm like, listen, man, everything's gonna be alright. You just gotta focus on you. Just do you for now. Eventually, somebody will come your way. You know what I mean? Just gotta get yourself situated first. And so he was like, I'm like, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt, but eventually, again, somebody will come your way. So then he's like, so then he's like, all right, I'm gonna go. And I'm like, all right, man, well, just know I'm here for you if you want to talk. All right, fine. So he just like leaves the party. I wouldn't even give it a full hour. I would give it at least 45 minutes. 45 minutes later, he messages me, and he goes, oh, I'm happy now, I found somebody. I was like, I like, okay. It was just like, I was like, you didn't even give it a sec, did you? And then it was just like, yeah. And then, he was like, but yeah, like, he didn't even say thank you or nothing like that either. Like, when I told him that stuff, he was like, I'm just gonna go. Well, I mean, but, you know, I took it as, you know, he's upset, so whatever.
No.
But I'm like, yeah. And then he's just like, yeah, I found somebody else. And he's like, check this out. And he sends me another picture of a girl. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, okay, now something's odd. So then, like, I was talking to one of the guys I play Marvel Avengers with, which is like one of Matt's friends. And, you know, he comes into the party, like the weird one. He comes into the party, and then he's like, you know, we're all talking or whatever like that. And then he was like, and then this is where I kind of knew, like, something wasn't right. I mean, I had that lingering feeling in the beginning, but now this, like, confirmed it. Because then he goes, like, yeah. He was like, what? I was like, oh, you're doing better now? Like, you're okay, or whatever like that. And he was like, yeah, I'm doing great. And then he was like, yeah, I gotta show you my wife. So I'm like, that's weird because you told me girlfriend in the beginning. So he's like, yeah, but he was like, here, yeah. Like, he's talking to the other guy because the other guy's like, oh, I'm sorry you were having girl problems, man, whatever. And then he's like, no. He's like, I'll show you my wife. So he, like, sends a picture and he's like, yeah, you know, life is great. We just had our wedding. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, okay. Like,
Bruh.
Yeah.
So
like,
many different, like...
Yeah, so different emotions, and it felt like I time traveled at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But, so then after that he goes, he's like, yeah, check out my wife. He was like, yeah, we have like 2 kids or whatever. And it's the same photo from when he first sent me. And I'm like, yeah. So I kept my mouth shut, and the other guy is just like, you know, oh, he was like, yeah, this good for you, man, blah, 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 whatever. So then, you know, we're talking, whatever, I leave, whatever, because I got work, and whatever. So then we're playing the next day. And I'm like, I'm telling Brianna all this, and I'm like, yeah, this fucking guy is weird. And then that was another thing, too, like, I would tell him, like, I'm at work, or whatever like that. And then he would still, like, hit up the party, like, want to have a party chat with me and all this other stuff or whatever. I'm like, dude, I'm at work. And then he was like, oh, sorry, I missed the message. But he was, like, spamming, like, invite to party, like, 15 times, man. Because my phone would be blowing up notifications, like, Grab Dragon invited you to a party, invited you to a party. I'm like, Jesus, dude. So, yeah, and so... Yeah, so then after that, I come home, everything's fine or whatever, hits me up again. Oh, he was like, that stupid bitch, or whatever like that, she cheated on me and got pregnant, and all this other stuff. Like,
oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah, and I'm like, this happened all within 4 days. So like from me to like meeting you to like now. So I'm like, what the fuck is transpiring? Right. So it's like, yeah, so I'm like, this transpired in 4 days, and I'm like, alright, man. So like, I got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm just not gonna respond. Because he added me, that kid, and then like, I guess a couple of his friends or whatever like that. And then his friends are even saying like, oh, do you want me to go like hit her up? Like, or whatever like that. And he's like kind of like deflecting